Please accept my humble obeisances. Shraddha Prabhupada Priti Vilasan Devidasni from Atlanta. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the beautiful chanting, and thank you, Mataji, for the beautiful welcoming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Priti Vilasini Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Thank you so much, Mataji, and welcome to the call. Thank you for all your services. Hare Krishna. And yes, I forgot to thank Sumi Mataji for a beautiful recitation. It was a very, very beautiful recitation, Mataji, 4th chapter. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Chinmaya Mataji. This is Kamalaki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All grace to Srila Prabhupada, all grace to Guru Maharaj, and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Kaumudaki Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and blessing us all in this call. Welcome, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Chinmaya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vrita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to the call, Mataji, and thank you for all your services. Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to introduce yourselves? We have a couple more minutes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to the call, Mataji, and thank you for joining every day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, my humble obeisances to you and to all the devotees here. It is really, really a blessing to be in the company of such devotees. And all glories to Srila Prabhupada Mataji.
Hare Krishna Sumi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Thank you so much for joining, Mataji. We are also very happy to have you and hearing your beautiful recitation. So it was very nice, Mataji. Welcome. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to introduce yourselves? Hare Krishna, dear devotees, it is time for us to move on to the next part of our session, which is class on Caitanya Bhagavat. And before that, I would like to read Srila Prabhupada's quote for today. It says, "The beauty of the outer skin can be destroyed in only a few hours merely by a dose of a strong purgative. But the beauty of truth is indestructible and always the same." This was said by Srila Prabhupada in section of Truth and Beauty on November 20, 1958. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Hare Krishna Govardhan Giri Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are all very fortunate to hear from Govardhan Giri Prabhuji today. And Prabhuji will be enlightening us on Caitanya Bhagavata Madhya khanda, 5th chapter from texts 128 to 136. So Prabhuji, we are all eagerly waiting to hear from you all your deep realizations, Prabhu. They are very, very nice and they are very impactful. So please take over, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadho Jayamudirayedu Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bhangam Langhayate Giri Yat Kripa Tamaham Mande Shri Guru Dinadarinam Brahmananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Iswaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya Ananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna. So we are reading from the Caitanya Bhagavata Madhya Khanda, chapter 5, which is the Vyasa Puja observance of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. That's our subject matter for discussion. And today we shall be reading from text 128 to 136, I think is what I've been asked to read. So here we go. The background is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking Nityananda Prabhu to conduct Vyasa Puja and what happens there. That is a very nice, sweet Leela between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Srivas Pandit, and the other devotees. That is what is the background information regarding this. Nityananda Swarupera E Vakyamana Chaitanya Ishvara Muni Tandra Ekajana. The thoughts and words of Nityananda Swarupa are, Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord, and I am one of his eternal servants. By his mind and speech, Sri Nityananda Prabhu accepted Sri Chaitanya Deva as his own Lord and considered himself the servant of that Lord. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 5, text 137, it is stated, Apana ke Bhrityakari Krishne Prabhu Jane. He considers himself a servant and knows Krishna to be his master. So in this shloka, it speaks about how Nityananda Prabhu considers Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be his master. Just like in the Leela of the Supreme Lord, as Srila Prabhupada mentions, we have the Sevya Bhagavan and Sevaka Bhagavan, the one who accepts service, the one who is served. And then there is Sevaka Bhagavan, who is the expansion of Sankarshana, who is otherwise known as Adishesha, Ananta, several names. All these names indicate that Sevaka Bhagavan. And that Sevaka Bhagavan is none other than Balarama. That Sevaka Bhagavan is none other than Lakshmana. That Sevaka Bhagavan is none other than Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So these personalities are all the same. In different Leelas, they manifest their actions differently. But in essence, their role is to serve. So that is when the commentary, the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 5 is actually glories of Nityananda Balaram. So how Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami there explains how Lord Nityananda Prabhu is non-different from Lord Balarama. And anybody trying to find some differentiation is actually very offensive. And we should be very careful about these things, because sometimes what happens is that we live in a relative world, and Here everything is relative in the sense that something is higher, something is lower, something is darker, something is fairer, something is good, something is bad, something is better, something is worse. So generally, we have this tendency to compare. That's also part of our ingrained Matsarya Bhava. And therefore, when we also hear about the Supreme Lord and his various manifestations, many a time we make the mistake of comparing and sort of grading and say that, this is better or that is better, or this incarnation is better than that incarnation, because in this incarnation, only this much is done. In that incarnation, that much more is done. Once we understand that everything is actually taking place on the transcendental platform, and the Supreme Lord and his various manifestations, avatars, they are all on the transcendental platform. And every action they perform are all transcendental. Then we will not have this tendency to compare and contrast and make some very unintelligent aparadhas, thereby harming our own selves. So we must be very careful in trying to, or while trying to compare what Lord Balarama did and what Lord Nityananda Prabhu did. So we should not have that. However, we must be very clear in our understanding that one is the servitor Lord and the other is the Lord accepting the service. Although they both are non-different from one another. Srila Prabhupada's very famous statement that Krishna is black Balaram and Balaram is white Krishna, just to bring out how non-different they are. However, in the Leela, we will find that they are very different, like chalk and cheese. Very different. Their temperaments are very different. Their actions are very different. Their reactions are very different. They have different opinions. So there is difference of opinion between Sri Krishna and Sri Balaram. Similarly, there is difference of opinion between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda. But we must understand that they are both transcendental supreme lords who will behave in inconceivable ways. And we must, the best thing that we can do is to understand that this is inconceivable. By putting a stop at that inconceivability of the Supreme Lord, we remain in the safe zone and not make aparadhas. What is inconceivable is inconceivable. We should not try to conceive that which is inconceivable. Simple as that. We must understand that some things are beyond our intellectual capacity. And Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're definitely not in our realm of intellectual understanding. So we must simply do anupashyata, is one word used by Rupa Goswami. Seeing, following the great acharyas. Meaning, see things how the great acharyas saw it. Even though we don't see what they see. Or sometimes we may be seeing differently from what they saw. But this anupashyata, meaning simply you follow and you try to see as they saw. Why? Because we have so many faults. We have so many shortcomings. So what we see and presume to be the truth need not always be true. Therefore, while trying to understand these transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, we must apply this principle. Not only Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, even when we hear about the Leelas of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, Sri Balaram, Srimati Radharani, always maintain this rule, so that we simply try and follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas and understand these Leelas through their words. Text 129. Harnisha Sri Mukhe Nahika Anya Katha Muni Tandra Sehamura Ishwara Sarvatha. Day and night, no words came from his mouth other than, I am his servant and he is my Lord in all respects. Commentary. Statements such as the Supreme Lord is mine and I belong to the Lord constantly issued from the mouth of Sri Nityananda. He did not say anything else. Now, this is something, although this sounds like a very simple statement, it's actually very profound. That Mora Ishwara Sarvatha. Mora Ishwara Sarvatha. Sarvatha, in all respects, he is my Lord. Actually, this is something that devotees, we are all aspiring devotees. Many of you are pure devotees. All of you are pure devotees. Whatever our stage of devotion may be, we must always remember to repeat this, that he is my Lord in all respects. Yatha tatha va vitatha tu lampato mat prananathastu sa evana paraha. Whether he embraces or he kicks, we must always remember that he is our only Lord. Actually, that is the safest way back to Godhead. Why? Because we must remember that as the Lord, when he incarnated as Lord Ramachandra, he said that it is my vrata not to reject anyone who comes and says that I am surrendered to you, even if he does not mean it. Because when Vibhishana came, they were all advising Lord Ramachandra, don't accept him because you know whose brother he is. He has come simply to do spy work for his brother. So accepting him will be very detrimental to our cause. To that only Lord Ramachandra replied that it is my vrata that I will accept. So whether we mean it or not, we should try and always repeat these words of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, that Mora Ishwara Sarvatha, that you are my Ishwara, you are my Lord always. Nityananda Prabhu is our Adi Guru, so anything he says, we should not take it lightly. We should not take it by the way. Every word that he speaks, very heavy. Guru means heavy, no? Guru means heavy. One meaning of the word Guru is heavy. That means whatever words they speak, the Guru Jana, Guru means not only one Guru. That is why in the very beginning of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vande Gurun Ishan Isha Bhaktan. That shloka is there. So Gurun, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami uses the word Gurus, Guru Jana. So all those people who are in the position of Guru for us, the words they speak should not be taken lightly. It should be taken very, very seriously. So here, Nityananda Prabhu constantly saying, Aharnisha Srimukhe Nahika Anya Katha. The day and night. Sri Nityananda Prabhu spoke nothing except to say that Munitandra Sehamora Ishwara Sarvata. I am his servant. He is my master in all respects. So like that, we should also repeat to Krishna, I am your servant, I am your servant. We may not mean it because we already have this Ishwara Bhava that I am the controller. So it's very difficult to say that I am servant. You see, that is the great difference between Bhakti Marga and all other things. Here we have to surrender and become Dina. You have to surrender that I am helpless. I need help. I need protection. I need shelter. So I am taking shelter of you. This bhava is there only in bhakti line. When jnani will not have this bhava. Because jnani, once one gains more and more and more knowledge, automatically some sense of false pride comes. So very difficult. Yogi, while performing yoga and becoming more and more perfect, getting some siddhis, also this dainya bhava becomes more difficult. But for bhakta, very easy. Therefore, you must always remember and speak this just like Nityananda Prabhu is speaking. Apane kariya chena shadbhuja darshana tara prite kahitana ei sabakathana. He personally saw the six-armed form of the Lord. Therefore, I am describing these topics for his pleasure, for the Lord's pleasure. The author is saying, Sri Nityananda Prabhu saw the six-armed form of Sri Gaurasundara. Therefore, by describing that pastime, Nityananda will be pleased. While being in this trance, Nityananda Prabhu had darshan of Lord Gaurasundara in a six-armed form. So he could see Lord as Sri Rama, Sri Krishna, and Sri Chaitanya. That is the Shadbhuja form of the Lord. So, having seen that, Nityananda Prabhu was very pleased. And here, Nardas Thakur saying that describing this will be very pleasing to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Paramarthe Nityananda Tahana Hridaya Donhe Donha Dekhite Achena Sunishchaya Tathapiha Avatara Anurupa Khela Karena Ishwara Seva Kebu Jibe Lila Sehaye Svikara Prabhu Kare Apane Taha Gaya Varne Vede Bharate Purane. On the spiritual platform, Nityananda always sees the pastimes of Sri Gaurasundar in his heart. And they certainly both always see each other. Yet, Sri Nityananda serves the Lord by acting in accordance with the pastimes of their incarnations. Who can understand his pastimes? The Supreme Lord thus accepts service from himself as sung about and described in the Vedas, the Mahabharata, and the Puranas. Commentary. Although Sri Nityananda constantly sees the pastimes of Sri Gaurasundar within his heart, and Sri Gaurasundar also exhibits all his pastimes to Nityananda, for the understanding of ordinary people, Nityananda externally displays pastimes in accordance with their particular incarnations. In spite of being the Supreme Lord himself, Sri Nityananda Prabhu serves the Lord. This pastime of Nityananda is incomprehensible for ordinary people. The topics of Nityananda's pastimes as a servant are described in the Vedas, the Mahabharata, and the Puranas. So, how to understand the pastimes of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Gaurasundara from this external, how they exhibit these pastimes. Now, Acharyas say, why does the Lord incarnate? We know the Lord incarnates Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadushkam Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. So, Sadhu Paritranana for the devotees, Vinashaya Chadushkrita, that is for destroying the miscreants, Dharma Samsthapana, to re-establish them. Now, you take these three things for which the Lord appears. Acharyas always say, by actually the primary purpose of the Lord appearing is Paritranaya Sadhu. Because for Vinashaya cha Dushkritam and Dharma Samsthapanarthaya, that is, for destroying the Dushkritis and to re-establish Dharma, not necessary for the Lord to come. Not necessary that the Lord should come personally. He can actually do it through any empowered entity. Right? Any empowered entity can perform these activities. But saving the devotee, actually, what looks like saving devotee is actually serving devotee from the Lord's point of view. Because devotee lives for this, association with the Lord. Devotee is always hankering for association of the Lord and his devotees. So, how can the Lord answer that? The Lord can answer that only by coming himself. Only by coming himself, the Lord can answer the devotees' hankering. Nothing less is good enough for the devotee. But for the Dushkriti, not necessary that he should see the Lord. In order to establish Dharma, not necessary that the Lord should perfectly, personally come. Both things can. So basically, the enactment of the pastimes is for the pleasure of the devotees. That is why we can't understand why this is happening. And we know that in the Lord's abode, in Vaikuntha, in Goloka, pastimes are going on eternally. Leelas are going on eternally. And there is unlimited enjoyment that is had by the devotees in their interactions with the Lord, in serving the Lord, in spending time with the Lord, doing various things. But then, how does that benefit the Baddha Jiva who is in the material world? He has no information about the spiritual world at all. The conditioned living entity has no information about the spiritual world. Even whatever information he is hearing, he is not able to comprehend. Whatever he is able to comprehend, he is not able to believe. So many difficulties for the conditioned living. Therefore, the Lord incarnates. Like how the Lord Mahavadanyaya, he is incarnated as the most merciful, most benevolent. Mahavadanyaya. To give us Krishna Prema, he is incarnated. And he is conducting these pastimes with Nityananda Prabhu. Which here the author is saying, actually all these pastimes, internally they both know that this is how it is. You know, like in Chaitanya Charitamrita we read when in Panihati, the great festival of chipped rice is going on. Nityananda Prabhu is bringing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by way of inviting him in his mind. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes there. Only the confidential Parshadas are able to see. And they are all enjoying the company of one another. You know? Others are not able to see, others are not able to understand. So like this, constantly pastimes are going on internally. And they are getting great transcendental enjoyment out of these confidential internal pastimes. But how does that benefit the poor conditioned soul? Doesn't benefit. The Lord is enjoying. The Savior Bhagavan and Sevaka Bhagavan, they are enjoying with one another. Just like how Krishna and Balarama, they would look at each other and they would smile. Because they are the only two people who knows what's going on. And so they have a different type of enjoyment. They have a different type of enjoyment. Just like when, as small children, they are going out, then Yashoda Mata and Rohini Mata, they will tell Balarama, Lord Balaram, that you please take care of Krishna. And both the brothers are looking at each other and they're smiling at each other. It's like, who is going to look after who? One is the holding principle of the entire creation. The other one is Jagannatha. So, to the Sevaka Bhagavan, they are saying, you please take care of Savior Bhagavan. He is thinking, I am already doing that all the time. I am already doing that all the time. But he is a small boy, he is a small boy. So they play the role of the small boys to the hilt. And they give unlimited enjoyment to all the inhabitants of Vraja. Unlimited transcendental pleasure is had by all the inhabitants of Vraja by these two supreme lords playing their role to the hilt, giving everyone happiness. Small children. Here, these two brothers, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, here they are doing something very different. Here they have opened the treasure chest of Prema. And he is inviting, both of them together, they are inviting everybody. Please come and loot. Please come and loot. So when you invite somebody to come and loot, what happens? Looters come. Looters, you invite somebody to come and loot, looters only will come first. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, their Leela is so transcendentally Mahavadanyaya, magnanimous, that they are giving it. They are asking people to loot it, the looters, the low class fellows. Come and take it. It doesn't matter. Come and take this Krishna Prema. Whether you are qualified to get it or not is not a criteria. It's not a criterion anymore. Simply, I have come and I just want to distribute this. And I want to distribute it freely. I want to distribute it widely. In that process, they are playing all these leelas, and which is increasing the transcendental happiness of all the people who are watching it. But as it is said here, it is very difficult to understand what is going on between them. Especially in Chaitanya Leela, it becomes more inconceivable. A lot of things we cannot understand. The way Nityananda Prabhu behaves, it's very difficult to understand. Sometimes he will chastise, sometimes he will be very angry, sometimes he will behave in a very unexpected way. You know? Lord Nityananda Prabhu is, when he is with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has a different type of behavior. The other devotees, he has a different type of behavior. Even with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has various different types of behaviors. Like the Danda Bhanga, breaking Mahaprabhu's sannyas danda. Like that. Cannot understand what is going on between these two Prabhus. So simply we hear, and we should try and meditate on these pastimes between the brothers, always praying that I don't want to have even an aparadhik thought in my heart, while I meditate on these pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, so that I am able to someday understand what is going on. The Chaitanya Leela is so subtle. So subtle. Externally, you can only see all the prasadam eating, the prasadam feeding, Umte bhojayate chaiva. Shadvidham Preeti Lakshanam. So that main thing that we will see in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is, taking prasada, distributing prasada, bringing prasad from Jagannath Mandir, feeding prasad to all the devotees. Or you will find Mahaprabhu being invited to Advaita Acharya's place in prasad. Shachimata cooking prasad. Like this, you will find. It is, if Bhagavata is Rasagrantha, Chaitanya Charitamrita is Prasada Grantha. So much of Prasada. But ultimately, it has got that Prasada, the mercy of the Lord, in his form as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That mercy, that ocean of mercy that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is opening up for all of us. Yesterday, I was hearing from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, and Maharaj was saying, commenting on the Chaitanya Chandramrita, where he says, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur uses very heavy words, like, if you are not bathing in the transcendental ocean of prema that is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anybody who is not bathing in that is bathing in donkey urine. This is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's comment. And also, there is another comment about the stool of the pig. So, Like this, our acharyas, when they want to stress on a point very heavily, they will use these extreme examples, you know. So therefore, we are having this opportunity to hear the pastimes, and whether we are able to understand and comprehend or not, we simply hear them. Because hearing them is purifying. Hearing about what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did with Nityananda Prabhu, what Nityananda Prabhu did with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, simply hearing it itself is purifying for all of us as souls. Ye karma kare Prabhu sehaya veda, tahi gaya sarva vede chadi sarva veda. The activities performed by the Supreme Lord are called Veda. The four Vedas sing of those activities while avoiding all contradictions. Commentary. The Vedas glorify the activities performed by the Supreme. The intention of the Vedas is to reveal the activities of the Supreme. The activities of the Lord are the actual subject matter of the Vedas. The Vedas do not establish any contradictory statements in their glorification of the Advaya Jnana Lord or the Absolute Lord. Topics of Advaya Jnana Hari are sung in the Vedas without contradictions. Now, this is a very heavy statement that ye karma karaye Prabhu say haya Veda tahi gaya sarva vede chadi sarva Veda. Said that Vedas are actually activities performed by the Supreme. Now, our first reaction to this will be Vedas are very difficult to comprehend. Almost impossible to study in Kali Yuga. And we also hear from authorities that, this is Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Vedas are like dense forests. It has a lot of trees. There's a lot of these, flowers. It has a lot of leaves. And hymns are like leaves. And, you go into this forest of the Vedas, you become deluded as to what is the goal of life. And therefore, one should be very careful. But here, the hidden agenda of the Vedas is expressed by Vrindavan Das Thakur. The activities performed by the Supreme Lord are God. And Vedas explain it without contradiction. What is Veda? The word Veda signifies knowledge. Right? The word Veda signifies knowledge. And we also know very clearly that Veda is originally emanating from the lotus mouth of the Supreme Lord. Veda was originally spoken by the Supreme Lord. The first receiver is Brahma. He received in his heart directly. And then from Brahma, it went to Narada and Vyasa, and it got explained. Knowledge. The ultimate knowledge about absolute truth is Veda, say, emanated from the lotus mouth of the Lord. Now, what is knowledge? What is knowledge? Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. Anybody who understands in truth that my janma and my karma are divyam, that is all there is to be known. Why? Then you will not take birth again. Unless you are perfected in knowledge, you cannot leave this material world. Unless your perfect knowledge culminates in bhakti, you cannot realize the Supreme Lord. And unless one realizes all these things, there is no entry to the spiritual planets, the transcendental spiritual world is closed to ordinary conditioned living entities. So the only way to get there, this is the way Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita. So, what is Veda? Veda is nothing but understanding the Leelas of the Lord. So that way, Vedas are nothing but an exposition of the Leelas of the Supreme. But it is not directly manifested like that from Vyasadeva. It is not directly manifested. In the Shruti Vakya, it is not manifested like that. Therefore, Vyasadeva, he gave this Panchama Veda, which are called the Itihasa Puranas are called Panchama Veda. The fifth Veda. And the Puranas speak about the activities of the Lord in general. And the most important, the Shiromani of all the Puranas, the Amala Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, completely describes the Supreme Lord and his Leelas. So what happens? That is actually the essence of Veda. So that is tallying with the statement of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur here, that how Veda is nothing but an exposition of the activities of the Supreme Lord. And for those who may think that, Purana is not Veda, those who think that Purana is not Veda, our Acharya, Srila Jiva Goswami has said that Purana, it has got many meanings. One is very old. The other is that Pura is Purayitva, meaning it completes the Vedas. So again, the question will come, then Vedas are incomplete in themselves? Not like that. To complete the student's understanding of the Vedas, Purana is there. In fact, there is a shloka by an Acharya, I don't remember the Sanskrit, but where it says that the Vedas and the Upanishads are afraid of those students who study them in isolation. Meaning, those students who are not studying the Vedas and Upanishads without studying them along with the Puranas. It seems the Shruti Vakyas and the Upanishad Vakyas are afraid that they will be misunderstood. They will be misunderstood. So therefore, for a complete understanding of the Vedas, we must take shelter of the Puranas. Because they actually bring out the fact that the Supreme Absolute Truth who is indicated in the Veda in the Shruti Vakya, in the Upanishad Vakya, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That fact is brought out in the Puranas, most notably in the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Therefore, the Vedas actually point out to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Absolute Truth, the one to be known, the one to be taken shelter of, everything. The summum bonum of everything is the Supreme Lord. That is brought out by the Puranas, which are again Panchama Veda. Therefore, here, as Vrindavan Das Thakur says, the activities performed by the Supreme Lord are Vedas. And without any contradiction, the Vedas bring out the activities of this. So, taking some Vakya from the Veda, from Shruti in isolation, and trying to establish something is, like Srila Prabhupada says, Artha Kukuta Nyaya, the half-hen logic. So, we don't want to be half-hen logicians. We want to have a proper, comprehensive understanding about the Supreme Absolute Truth. That is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That understanding can be had by the study of the Puranas, that you don't have to, as far as we are concerned, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed us that this one Purana is enough. The Srimad Bhagavata Purana is enough as a standalone grantha for one to understand. For one to understand the truth exposed in Vedanta can be understood by simply approaching the Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore, Vedas are actually nothing but activities of the Supreme. Anyway, they also emanated from the lotus mouth of the Supreme Lord. So how can you negate the Supreme Lord and understand the Vedas? It's not at all possible. It is simply a mental gymnastics if somebody is trying to do that, like Srila Prabhupada says. Therefore, we have to study these things in conjunction with one another in order to get the proper understanding about the Supreme Personality of God. Then, Vrindavan Das Thakur, in the next sloka, he very nicely fixes it, this whole discussion. What is that? Bhakti Yoga Vina Iha Bujhananayaya Jane Jana Katha Gaurachandrera Kripaya. Without engaging in devotional service, no one can understand this. This is known to a few people by the mercy of Gaurachandra. Commentary. Those persons with prominent materialistic propensities or those who are mental speculators cannot understand the actual characteristics of devotional service. Only those who are favored by Srimad Mahaprabhu can realize the pastimes of Gaura through devotional service. In order to understand devotional service also, we need the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In order to understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, we require the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore, once again here it becomes established that without bhakti, nothing is possible. And with bhakti, everything becomes possible. Without bhakti, nothing is possible. With bhakti, everything becomes possible. This is not just a flashy one-liner, but rather this is the truth. Because unless whatever jnana, whatever yoga, whatever karma yoga, jnana yoga, hatha yoga, ashtanga yoga, everything you can do, but if it does not culminate in bhakti yoga, one can never understand the Supreme Lord. And unless one comes to the level of knowing, understanding, and taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, his endeavor remains incomplete. Endeavor remains incomplete. So to understand that, Brahman realization, it is not false. Paramatma realization, it is not false. But these two are partial realizations. There is nothing false about it, but it is not complete. So we must understand that in order to have that full understanding, this bhakti is very, very important. And we are very fortunate that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given that very freely to us. And therefore we are recipients of that mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the mercy of somebody even more merciful, none other than our dear Srila Prabhupada, that we are able to discuss all these things to the extent that our realization permits and try to gain some understandings about these very heavy subject matters in a very straightforward and simple manner. I often say this, unless you read some other so-called, within inverted commas, spiritual books, you will never appreciate how direct Srila Prabhupada is. By no means am I recommending that we should go out and read some other books. I'm just saying 2 pages of some other missions books you read, then you will know how complicated they sound. And you read 1 page of Srila Prabhupada's book, and that is enough to give direction to the conditioned living soul, living entity, how to go back to Godhead. So therefore, one is that we are receiving the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is coming through the agency of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, we are extremely fortunate actually. Although there may be many, on the material platform, there may be many misfortunes. But on the platform of the Atma, actually each and every one of us, we are all highly fortunate. Very, very fortunate. We don't know. It's like many times the feeling is that it's like an illiterate holding a lottery ticket in the hand, does not even know, cannot even read numbers, so does not know that he is holding the jackpot ticket in his hand. That is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us. This Krishna Prema that is very, very rarely obtained. Srila Sukadeva Goswami, while conversing with Parikshit Maharaj, the 10th canto, Sukadeva Goswami speaks about how Krishna became a toy in the hand of the gopis. Sukadeva Goswami says sometimes they will ask him to sing in his baby voice. Sometimes they will ask him to dance with his baby steps. And Krishna, just like a doll in the hands of the gopis, would sing, would dance as they instruct him to do. It is inconceivable that the supreme controller, the creator, the knower of everything, whatever other things that you can attribute to the Supreme Lord, Asama Urdhva, there is nobody equal to him, there is nobody above him. The Supreme, powerful, all Shaktis are there in him, everything resides within him. So that Supreme Lord becomes a toy in the hand of these gopis simply because of their bhakti. Therefore, he gives it very, very rarely. Because he will not dance to any Tom, Dick and Harry's tune. He will only dance to the tune of the gopis. He would only sing because the gopis asked him to sing. So that is the Supreme Lord. He gives it very durlabha. But bhakti is sudurlabha. Sri Rupa Goswami says, Bhava Bhakti, sudurlabha, very, very rarely attained. But what happens? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving this thing very freely and also showing us the path, how to get there. How to get there. Because it's like, you give a coconut to somebody who has never seen a coconut before in his life. He wouldn't know because outside it is green. You open it, it will be brown. Then you open it further, it will be white. There will be water. It's a complete universe like, You may be holding it in your hand, but if you don't know what it is, you also need that person who gave it to you to tell you what it is. So, like that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given everything, also given instruction, what I have given, what you should do with it, and what is the result of it. So that way we are extremely fortunate to be part of this, to be the recipient of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to be able to try and understand this great good fortune that we have, and by utilizing that, become perfect and attain the ultimate goal of our lives. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. What a wonderful class. A very, very deep, impactful class. Thank you for making us realize so many things. I really loved the point where you said in the beginning of your class where we have that comparing nature in us due to envy. And then we end up comparing the different incarnations of the Lord also. And we make such unintelligent aparadas there. It was beautiful. Yeah, sometimes, yes, we end up doing all that. And beautiful class, Prabhu. How you said, especially it was like you were referring to me, an illiterate holding a jackpot lottery ticket in the hand, not knowing the value, that is who I am. So, yes, at least I can ponder on these thoughts, and for some days at least I can set my mind straight. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very grateful to you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please go ahead, share your realizations, or if you have any questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare-
When we are reading Bhagavatam, it was the same thought that you shared with us, that the same sloka where Prabhupada says, it is in this chapter 10, Canto 10, chapter 8, where Yashodamma could see the entire universe when Krishna yawned. So in that particular sloka, he said, she's not able to comprehend whether it is Maya or whether it is Ishvara or whatever it is. So in the next sloka, she says, Ato yatavat na vitarka gocharam cheto mana karma vachopi anjasa yatashrayam yena yata pratiyate sudurvibhavyam pranatasmi tatpadam. In which Prabhupada clearly says the same thing that you said, that it is when you cannot comprehend the Ishvara Tanmaya of Ishvara by your mana or karma or vacha or cheta, whatever it is. So Yashoda, being a simple lady, she simply pays obeisances to the Lord. And he says, Pranatosmi, because she's not able to comprehend whether it is really Maya or Ishvara or whatever it is. So the same thing you said that in the beginning of the class, that best thing is to Saranagati, simply surrender to Lord, because with our mortal, mundane senses, we are not able to really comprehend, so much so that we have to simply surrender. The same sloka in Bhagavatam.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. A very beautiful realization. Hare Krishna. Anybody else, Mataji? So, Prabhuji's?
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, your voice is very low.
Hello, Mataji. Now it's okay, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a beautiful class. I really liked so many points from the class, especially you have said that Guru Maharaj given in the yesterday's class that I really liked. How if we are not able to take the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how fallen condition we are in. That was very nice. And also, I really liked the another point that you were mentioning about how Bhagavatam is, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita is Prasadam Granda. That is very, very nice, Prabhuji. Different, understanding how sweet Chaitanya Charitamrita is. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for so beautiful class. Always when you come, so many new points that we get to learn. Very grateful to you. Please always give us your appreciation, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for such a nice class. I think everybody is sharing all that they liked. Even I also liked a few points that you made. Was surrendering to Nityananda Prabhu when you said that the Lord doesn't see, even if you have malicious intentions, he accepts, like Lord Ramachandra says. When you said about Lord Nityananda, even whether you have faith, you don't have faith, just keep saying that you are my Lord and you surrender, and eventually things will be okay. So thank you for telling that, Prabhu. I will definitely want to apply that in my life. And the example of the green coconut was also very interesting. I never thought through it like that. The way you explained it, it was so interesting. Thank you. And yes, definitely Chaitanya Charitamrita being Prasada Grantham. Thank you, Prabhu. Very beautiful class, as always. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji, in the chat box, there are many devotees who have thanked you, Prabhu. Revati Mataji, Lalitangi Mataji, Suksagri Mataji, they have all thanked you for a very beautiful class. So if there are no more realizations. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So sorry. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming today and for giving this very, very beautiful class, Prabhuji. I really understood the explanation only after you elaborated on why the Vedas, and you talked about how the fifth Veda, the Puranas, that's what describes the pastimes of the Lord. So that made me understand this section a little better. I had trouble understanding how the Vedas were considered to be the Lord. I'm so sorry if there's a lot of noise. I'm outside. But one thing that I really found resonated with me was that you were talking about how we are like an illiterate who has a lottery ticket in my hand, and I don't know what to do. We have this bhakti mark that is given to us by Srila Prabhupada because of his greatest mercy, and I really am not doing anything properly with it. So thank you so much for reminding me of that also. Very grateful to you, Prabhuji, for the service. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So yes, Prabhu, if there are lots of chat messages are coming, Prabhu, very insightful class. And thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for helping us set our minds straight for at least a few days. Please keep coming and please keep doing this service. And thank you so much, Prabhuji. With your permission, we'll end the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Govardhan Giri Prabhuji ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Govardhan Giri Prabhuji ki jai. Jai. Govardhan Giri Prabhuji ki jai. Jai.
Jai. Thank you, dear devotees.
Govardhan
We'll
Giri
be-
Prabhuji ki jai.
Thank you, dear devotees. We'll be ending the call here. Let me see how I can take back the host.
Host is gone, Mataji. You only are a host. Oh, okay. I can do that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mataji.
So much
Sorry, I'm
I
able to test you for it on this phone.